Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do the usual disclaimers, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, as you know, NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1, when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised. Alright, folks, I've been on a cleaning spree for the last 2 weekends in a row. I'm exhausted, so I'm not going to give much commentary. We're just going to go straight into it, alright? Okay, where we left off last time. The interest asserted by the commenter, parents' right to choose ESD for their children, is not a fundamental right. Thank you. Again, I will allude you back in regards to child safety, the state and federal law. When it is in a situation where a child's health and well-being is at risk, the state and the feds may intervene on the behalf of the child and temporarily, even sometimes permanently, take away those rights from the parents so that the proper decision can be made in regards to the kid's health. Again, I referenced the whole Christian Science debacle of the early 2000s. If you remember, there wasn't just a case out here, there was a few dozen of them going on at once, okay? So sitting there saying, but we have the right, the parents have the right to choose torture, and you can't take that away from them. It's not only a monstrous argument, it is a extremely, very provably false one. Alright? So as usual, please, for the love of God, spare me the bullshit. Alright? The Supreme Court has recognized parents' fundamental right to direct upbringing and education of their children, Troxel versus Granville. That's 530 U.S. 57, 2000. The court has made clear, however, that there are limitations to such rights. This is exactly what I've been referencing. And that the state has a wide range of power for limiting parental freedom and authority in things affecting the child's welfare. Prince versus Massachusetts, 321 U.S. 158, 167, 1944. I told you guys it's been on the books when the child's welfare is at risk. And the state, and in some cases the federal government, do have a right to intervene and supersede those rights if it looks like those decisions are going to endanger the child. Alright? So that is false on the face of it, okay? Under this rubric, the court has upheld state interference with parental rights when there was a determination that the activity being restricted was harmful to a child's mental or physical health. Exactly. This is also in regards to forms of abuse that have been prevalent. If there's a particular religious, I'm literally, folks, kids have died. Autistic kids in particular have died due to Protestants. You can tell I choked it out. I'm not going to be anyone's friend with this, but kids have died because the pastors convinced their parents that their kid wasn't autistic, they were possessed. And those kids have died from very rigorous and insane forms of exorcism, which usually cause the kid to die of asphyxiation. Okay? That's one of those areas. We got to get out of our heads that parents always want what's best for their children. In some cases, even when they do, what they think is best for their children and what is actually the best for their children are not exactly the same thing, okay? Just take a look at some of the worst tragedies. Look at Jonestown, for the love of God. Would anybody in their rational, sane mind decide that drinking a poison laced Kool Aid was a good idea for the child's welfare? No, nobody would think that. In fact, we've learned in later years that people tried to fight it, but that's neither here nor there. You see my point, okay? People, including parents, make bad decisions. Those decisions affect the kid's welfare. When it affects the kid's welfare to the point that it could lead to possible harm, then the state and the feds have every right to intervene, and thank God that they do. Had they not intervened in that case out here in the early 2000s, that kid would have been dead right now instead of a full functioning adult. Okay? Let's continue, shall we? See, Jehovah's Witnesses versus King City Hospital 278. That was one. Supreme Court 488504, WD Wash 1967. 390 U.S. 598, 1968 per curiam, holding that states may intervene when a parent refuses necessary medical care for a child. This was exactly what I was referencing here. In regards to medical care for a child, the state has a right to intervene, whether it's due to the fact that the parent is refusing on, regardless of whatever the grounds happen to be. If it looks like it's going to put the child's life at risk, the feds and the states have all the right and all the authority to be able to supersede parental rights to make the best decision on the behalf of the child. Okay? Yeah, and you may say, but it's saying refuses necessary medical care. This GED is necessary care. You don't understand. You don't know the kids as severe as these. God, I'm so tired of that argument. Although not the largest state, Missouri's a pretty big goddamn state. Okay? I oversaw my area 25% of it. 25%. Within that 25% is the third largest city in the state. Okay? To try and come and tell me that I have never dealt with anyone as quote unquote severe as the kids at the JRC is just fucking stupid. The math doesn't math. There were millions of kids, adults, and elderly within that 25%. A solid chunk of them had SIB and AB issues. They were being properly treated under community-based programs such as ARC and even facility-based residential through means of ARC, Nova, Easter Seals, and the other providers out here in the area, okay? All right? Yeah. You can't sit there and say, but you can't, because it's the parent's decision, except in the situation where the parent's decision puts that kid in harm's way. If a parent's decision puts a child in harm's way, and we can prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, and if ever there was beyond a shadow of a doubt proof of monstrosity being committed against kids, the JRC is it. 6 dead kids, video surveillance footage, ER documents, as well as witness testimonies, former staff testimonies that back up the ER documents. For the love of God, our receipts have receipts, those receipts have receipts. All right? So, in a situation like JRC, where we can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, not only does the risk of an unreasonable risk of harm or injury can be proven, we can prove as a matter of fact that these risks have already caused these types of issues to multiple kids over multiple decades. There has been lawsuit after lawsuit. All right? Please spare me the nonsense. We all know that the state and the feds can intervene when a child's health is at risk. Point blank, period. Please do not make me grab all the caseloads from all those different cases. I'm already overworked. All right. It makes it very quite simple, doesn't it? All right, we're going to go ahead and close out on that one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, you do know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit those comments. I appreciate your time this afternoon. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all in a few seconds. Bye-bye, everyone.